Imagine for just a moment that everything you've been struggling with, every fear, every insecurity, every shadow of doubt isn't just an obstacle in your path, but a map pointing you toward your true calling. What if the key to discovering who you really are and what you're meant to become lies hidden in the very parts of yourself that you've tried to ignore, suppress, or deny? Today we'll explore one of the most powerful and transformative ideas in both psychology and philosophy, Carl Jung's concept of the shadow. This isn't just abstract theory, it's a life-altering lens through which we can view ourselves. By the time you reach the end of this journey, you won't just understand your shadow, you'll recognize it as the key to your purpose, your power, and your liberation. The final insight we'll uncover may very well be the most profound of all. Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, described the shadow as the unconscious side of our personality, the parts we reject, disown, or are ashamed of. These can include impulses, desires, traits, or emotions that we've deemed unacceptable, either because of societal norms or personal beliefs. But here's the paradox: these very shadows often contain the seeds of our greatest strengths and the hidden blueprint for a deeply fulfilling life. Think about it. How often do you shy away from certain thoughts or emotions because they make you uncomfortable? How often do you harshly judge others for qualities that deep down you fear or recognize in yourself? If you've ever had a strong emotional reaction to someone else's behavior, it may be because they've triggered a piece of your own shadow. Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." You see, the shadow isn't just about darkness, it's also about potential. It's the raw, untamed energy within us that we've buried because we were too afraid, too ashamed, or too conditioned to face it. Take a moment and reflect. Are there parts of yourself that you try to keep hidden, even from yourself? Maybe it's a fear of being inadequate. Maybe it's a deep anger or envy or an intense desire that feels taboo. Maybe it's a dream you've buried because it seemed unrealistic. But what if these weren't flaws to eliminate, but messages waiting to be understood? Jung believed that by confronting and integrating our shadow, we begin the process he called individuation, the journey of becoming whole. This process requires deep honesty, courage, and a willingness to venture into the unknown. But the reward, it's nothing short of inner freedom. To Jung, individuation wasn't about becoming someone new, it was about becoming who you truly are. Not just the polished version of yourself you show to the world, but the complete self that includes both light and dark. Think of the mythic hero's journey. Every hero must eventually face their own inner darkness. Hercules didn't just battle monsters, he had to wrestle with his own rage. Luke Skywalker had to confront the darkness inside him before he could truly become a Jedi. These stories mirror our own inner battles. So ask yourself, are you ready to face the parts of yourself you've been running from? Are you willing to ask, what are you here to teach me? Jung's philosophy reminds us the shadow is not our enemy. It's our guide. It speaks to us in dreams, in patterns, in emotional triggers, and even in the people we're drawn to or repelled by. Have you ever had a recurring dream or felt a strange pull towards something or someone you can't quite explain? These are often the voice of the shadow calling out, asking to be heard. The first step in shadow work is awareness. Pay attention to your strongest emotional reactions, especially the ones that seem out of proportion. These intense moments often point directly to a part of yourself that you've suppressed. Next comes acceptance. This doesn't mean you should act on every shadow impulse. It means recognizing these parts without judgment and understanding their message. Imagine the freedom of no longer being afraid of your flaws. Imagine being able to look at every part of yourself and say, you belong. When you embrace your whole self, you don't just grow, you become real, authentic, grounded, and this authenticity is the key to unlocking your potential. In the next sections, we'll dive deeper into how to recognize and integrate your shadow. We'll explore practical ways to transform what feels like darkness into light and reveal how doing so can lead you directly to your life's purpose. Remember, the most powerful revelation is still ahead. Stay with us. Let's continue this inner journey and uncover the extraordinary power that's been hidden inside you all along. Now let's dive deeper into the mysterious world of the shadow and see how understanding it can lead to profound peace, purpose, and personal transformation. The shadow manifests in countless ways. It appears in our habits, in our relationships, and most vividly, in our emotional reactions. Think back. Have you ever had an emotional outburst and later wondered, why did I react so strongly? That sudden wave of emotion is often your shadow rising to the surface. But why does it have so much power? Jung believed the shadow's influence comes from its unconscious nature. The more we suppress something, the more control it gains. It's like trying to keep a beach ball submerged underwater. The harder you push, the stronger it pops back up. Now imagine this. What if you stopped suppressing it? What if you brought that hidden part into the light and understood its origin? How much more in control would you feel? How much freer? One of the clearest signs of the shadow is projection. Jung taught that when we disown a trait in ourselves, we often project it onto others. This amplifies our emotional response to them. For instance, someone who feels insecure might resent those who seem overly confident. Or someone who's afraid of failure might criticize risk-takers. But these aren't just quirks, they're mirrors. The world reflects back the parts of ourselves we've refused to acknowledge. Jung put it simply, knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. So take a moment. Is there someone in your life who constantly triggers you? Instead of focusing on them, ask yourself, what is this reaction revealing about me? That's not self-blame, it's self-discovery. Each trigger is a clue, a flashlight pointing toward a piece of your shadow that's ready to be healed. Now let's go one step further. The shadow doesn't just block our joy, it often hides our purpose. Yes, you heard that right. The parts of ourselves that we suppress, our passions, our sensitivities, our dreams, often hold the very talents and desires that lead us to our life's true work. Jung believed that our purpose isn't something we find outside ourselves, it's something we awaken within. It's about aligning with our true nature, not just the parts that are socially accepted, but all of it. He once said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. So how do we start becoming that person? Begin with self-inquiry. Ask questions like, what do I fear most about myself? What have I been told is unacceptable about me? What dreams have I buried because they felt unrealistic? Write them down. Sit with them. You may be surprised at what arises when you give your shadow permission to speak. Another powerful tool, journaling. Jung himself kept journals, especially of his dreams, which he believed were direct messages from the unconscious mind. In dreams, the shadow often appears symbolically as a person, an animal, or an event. Look for recurring symbols or patterns. Ask yourself, what might this be trying to show me? Now picture a painter who refuses to use dark colors. The artwork might still be beautiful, but it will lack depth. When we embrace our shadow, we become like artists who use the entire palette, light and dark. That's how we create something real. Integration doesn't mean surrendering to every dark urge. It means understanding and accepting every part of yourself, because wholeness requires both light and shadow. And with that acceptance comes compassion, not just for yourself, but for others. You start to see that everyone carries a shadow, and that shared truth connects us more deeply than we ever realized. The journey of embracing your shadow isn't a quick fix, it's a lifelong path. But the rewards, they're immense. Clarity, peace, purpose, authenticity. And here's a vital truth, your purpose isn't just for you. Jung believed that personal transformation contributes to the collective unconscious. When you integrate your shadow, you help lift the whole. In the next section, we'll explore how to apply shadow work to your everyday life so you can build healthier relationships, unlock greater creativity, and step into the life you were truly meant to live. The most profound truth is still to come. Stay with us, because what lies ahead may just change everything. The insights of shadow work in everyday life. Understanding your shadow is a powerful beginning, but true transformation happens through integration. This is where awareness becomes action, the moment you begin weaving your hidden aspects into the fabric of your true self. One of the first steps in this journey is practicing radical self-honesty. It means looking at yourself without filters or justifications. It takes real courage to say, yes, I feel jealous, or yes, I judge others unfairly. But here's the truth. Self-honesty isn't about self-criticism, it's about clarity. Think of it like tidying up a messy room. You can't clean or organize the space until you first acknowledge the chaos. In the same way, you can't integrate your shadow until you admit it's there. A practical way to begin this is to pay attention to your emotional triggers. The next time you feel an intense emotional response, anger, fear, or even exaggerated admiration, pause and ask, why am I reacting this way? What does this reveal about me? Am I projecting something within myself onto this situation? For example, if you feel irritated by someone who seems overly confident, ask yourself whether that irritation stems from your own insecurity or perhaps from a suppressed desire to be seen, to shine, to take up space. This kind of honest self-inquiry can feel uncomfortable. It's easier to shift blame or retreat into defensiveness. But the goal isn't self-blame, it's self-understanding. Each trigger is a door to deeper self-awareness. Once you begin identifying parts of your shadow, the next step is to open a dialogue with it. Carl Jung often encouraged patients to speak to their shadow as if it were a separate being. It might sound odd, but this technique helps externalize and understand the hidden parts of yourself. Imagine sitting across from your shadow. Ask it, why do you feel this way? What are you trying to protect me from? What do you need in order to feel acknowledged? This conversation can take place through journaling, meditation, or visualization. The goal is to create a space where your shadow feels heard. Because your shadow is not your enemy. It's a neglected part of you, one that has tried in its flawed way to protect or guide you. This process often leads to powerful revelations. You may uncover that a long-held fear originated in childhood, or that a trait you've been ashamed of is actually a powerful strength waiting to emerge. How integration impacts your relationships. Your shadow doesn't just affect your internal world, it influences your relationships too. Often, unresolved parts of your shadow show up as patterns of conflict and tension. Have you ever clashed repeatedly with someone over the same issue? Or noticed you're drawn to the same type of partner, or face the same emotional cycles again and again? These are not coincidences. These patterns may be echoes of your shadow. Jung believed relationships act as mirrors, reflecting back parts of our unconscious selves. When you feel triggered by someone, it's often because they embody something you've disowned or denied in yourself. Becoming aware of this dynamic allows you to shift from reaction to reflection. Instead of blaming the other person, ask, what is this experience teaching me about myself? This change in mindset deepens your awareness and cultivates compassion for yourself and for others. The shadow as a source of creativity and purpose. But the shadow doesn't only contain what we dislike. It also holds untapped potential. Jung believed the shadow is not just the keeper of our darker impulses, it's the wellspring of our creativity, vitality, and authenticity. When you suppress your shadow, you expend enormous energy hiding parts of yourself. But when you integrate those parts, you reclaim that energy and redirect it into expression and purpose. For instance, repressed anger can become fuel for justice advocacy or boundary setting. A hidden desire for attention might find healthy expression in performance storytelling or leadership. Think of history's most powerful artists, visionaries, and leaders. Much of their work came from deep engagement with their own shadows. Frida Kahlo's paintings radiate emotional intensity and personal truth. Martin Luther King Jr. transformed righteous anger into a movement of peace and progress. Jung himself saw creativity as essential to individuation, the process of becoming whole. So ask yourself, are there passions you've buried because they felt too vulnerable or too risky? Could those be the very expressions of your most authentic self? As you integrate your shadow traits that once brought shame or fear, become tools of strength and vision. You begin living with more confidence, clarity, and alignment. The final and ultimate truth about your shadow. As we reach the heart of this journey, let's pause and reflect. Your shadow, the hidden and often feared part of you, is not a curse. It's a gift waiting to be claimed. It holds the keys to your authenticity, your creativity, and your purpose. But what does it truly mean to embrace your shadow? Jung famously said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." This is the essence of shadow work, not rejecting the darkness, but accepting it, learning from it, and allowing it to shape your growth. So how do we make the darkness conscious? One powerful path is through vulnerability. When you openly acknowledge your insecurities, fears, and flaws, you take away their power to silently control your life. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's strength, the kind that says, "This is who I am, and I am enough." Think about your relationships. How often do we wear masks showing only the pieces of ourselves we think others will accept? These masks prevent real connection. But when you embrace your shadow, you allow yourself to show up fully, inviting others to do the same. This authenticity is magnetic. It inspires trust, deepens intimacy, and builds bridges between souls. The shadow's role in collective transformation. But shadow work isn't just for personal healing. It's also a path to global transformation. When individuals confront and integrate their shadows, they become more compassionate, more self-aware, and less reactive. Instead of projecting pain and insecurity onto others, they own it, heal it, and grow from it. Imagine a world where more people chose this path, where conflict was replaced by curiosity, where division gave way to understanding. This is the deepest power of shadow work. It's not just about self-improvement, it's about contributing to a more conscious, compassionate, and connected world. A final invitation: your shadow, your power. As we conclude, I invite you to look within, not only at what you celebrate about yourself, but also at what you hide. Ask, what is my shadow trying to teach me? What strength lies within it? What small step can I take today to begin embracing it? Remember, this isn't a one-time task. It's a lifelong journey, but each step forward brings you closer to wholeness, to the person you were always meant to become. So share your thoughts, reflect, start conversations. Your insights may light the way for someone else beginning their journey. This is not the end. It's the beginning of a new chapter 1, where you claim all of who you are and step into the fullness of your life. Thank you for walking this path with me. May you find courage, clarity, and peace as you continue to explore the depths of your being.